of letter N. Of letter N. And I'm afraid to tell you, I don't like word N. We are a Christian, we are not Nasara. We are a Christian because we believe in Christ. Christian came from Christ. N came from Nasara. Nasara has many meanings. But that's fine if they want to recognize us as Nasara by using N. We are proud of it too. We are Nasara. We are Christian. We are going to die as Christians. Even if there is one person left in Iraq, even if there is one person left in Syria, even if there is one person left in Lebanon or any place in the Arab countries, that person will hold his ID. He is a Christian. All those people that we see on Facebook, by the way, I am a Facebook seer. If you want my Facebook number, I will give it to you. I love to see Facebook because there are a lot of information. There are a lot of things you can write and express your feeling and use it for good things. So when I see those people, bad people, they kill Christians for no reason. Either to be a Muslim, to turn a Muslim, or to pay your fees to the government of Islam, or leave the country. No, I rather been killed or leave the city than to be a Muslim. Why should be a Muslim? As Paul says, I am very proud to be holding the cross of Christ. If we are not holding it in our necks, it is in our heart. We carry it everywhere we go. Christ is our Savior. My beloved people, let's always stick to each other and try to be united so our people back home will see our unity, will see our love to each other. They will unite it there. It's not right to leave the country. It's not right to leave our country. It's our country. It's not theirs. It's our land. They don't know the history. They don't read the history. The history says, Nineveh. Who's Nineveh? We are Nineveh. They are not Nineveh. Let's go to their place. I don't want to mention their place. But we are Nineveh. This is our land. This is our loved land. We born there. We lived there. Our great fathers 2,000 years ago. We've been there. Now as a sudden we are stranger of that. As Mr. Maliki says, we are Jaliya Masihiyya. You know what Jaliya means? That we are here Jaliya al-Kaldaniya, al-Jaira al-Iraqiyya, yani minority. We are nothing. Maybe 10 zeros after one. We are, I mean, the left side, not right side. So we means nothing to Maliki. Let be no mistaken that we are the children of that land and we're gonna stick in that land. No matter what. Our churches, our leaders, clergy leaders, they are guiding us all to this path. We have to be helped. We should help them and protect our dignity by admitting that we belong to Assyrian, Syriac, Chaldean, whatever we all Chaldean, Assyrian, Syriac, we are all one body. I can see here in this gathering, I can see Assyrian, I can see Chaldean, I can see Syriacs, I can see what else? Coptic. So we all one unity, and we can stay all one. God bless Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. Thank you.
Before I start my speech, I would like to ask Sandra and her team, please come here. Sandra, our young people that led this great demonstration, that forced us to unite, that made this happen. Sandra and her team, please come up here. These people have not slept for days. These people have even cheated on their workplaces because they were working for us. These people have sacrificed. These people made this happen. I thank you on behalf of our people in Los Angeles. Thank you. We have started something. This is just the beginning. We have places to go and things to do. So let us all do it together. I will start my speech in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. We are here today as a united people, Christians and non-Christians alike, to stand as one voice, to denounce and condemn the despicable violence, terrorism, and human rights abuse that is a daily occurrence against the Christians of the Middle East, especially those in Iraq and Syria. We ask, for how long will the world stand in sight of the slow genocide? How many more of our mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters do we have to bury before the world joins us to put an end to this? Our lives hold the exact same value as every human being. The Christians in Iraq, Syria, and Egypt are the recipients of the violation of their universal human rights as declared by the United Nations in 1948. As the world knows, on June 10th, 2014, ISIS, the devil, the militants of ISIS drove into Mosul. The Iraqi military forces vacated the city. The Christians had only few hours to leave everything and flee. The elderly and the sick who could not flee either converted to Islam or were killed. Friday, July 18th, 2014, the Christians that were still in hiding in the city of Mosul heard messages that were being communicated through loudspeakers of mosques, demanding that the Christians, the natives of the land, either convert to Islam or pay a jizya tax, or leave the city by Saturday noon or will be beheaded. For example, in Mosul last week, 36-year-old Fadi, an Assyrian Christian man, with his wife and son, were waiting to die as they could not afford to flee from their home. Neither could they afford the $450 tax that has been imposed on them by the Islamic State. I wonder where Fadi, his wife, and his child are today. July 30th, 2014, the historic grave site of the biblical prophet Jonah was destroyed in Mosul. ISIS have their next goal set on destroying the ancient leaning minaret. But let me remind you, just in case you have not noticed, the main goal of ISIS is to eradicate and eliminate all the Christians from the Middle East. In the past 10 years, the extremists have prided themselves in the destruction of churches. The first church bombing in Iraq occurred in Mosul, June 26, 2004, 10 years ago. It drew little attention when two unidentified men threw a hand bomb in the Holy Spirit Church in Mosul. 5 weeks later, on August 1st, 2004, coordinated bombings struck 5 churches, 4 in Baghdad, 1 in Mosul. In the last 10 years, since that June of 2004, there have been 73 churches bombed. The number continues to rise. June 25th, 2013, gunmen opened fire on St. Mary's Assyrian Church, wounding several people. September 16th, 2012, The Cathedral of Kirkuk exploded when a bomb was placed at the door of the church, causing heavy damages. March 20th, 2012, the Assyrian Orthodox Church of St. Matthew in Baghdad was bombed, resulting in 2 dead and over 23 wounded. October 31st, 2010, during a normal Sunday evening Mass, Sayyidat al-Najat Church, Our Lady of Salvation Syria Catholic Cathedral in Baghdad was attacked, leaving 58 men and women and children dead and more than 100 wounded. On October 25th, 2009, Margi Vargas Church, St. George in Baghdad was bombed, killing 155 innocent people and over 721 injured. Besides structural destruction, there has been thousands of deaths and thousands of refugees displaced around the world. These are the human casualties that the world has been ignoring. These Assyrian Christians are the indigenous people of Iraq. It is their ancestral homeland. They have dwelt there since the beginning of humanity. Since the U.S. invasion of Iraq and the rise of the terrorism against these Christians, many of them fled their homes in cities like Baghdad, Basra, Kirkuk, in order to seek refuge in what seem to be relatively peaceful provinces in the north. As it is apparent from these latest events, terrorism and human rights abuses have followed us regardless where we reside in Iraq. We are here to take a stand to stop the persecution of Christians in the Middle East. Our goals are: 1. To call attention and awareness to the plight of Christians in Iraq, Syria, and Egypt, and the surrounding areas. We demand that the Christians living there get their human rights upheld. 2. We are here to demand immediate and adequate protection of all the Christians of Iraq by the Iraqi federal government and the Kurdistan regional government. 3. We are here to urge the State Department to develop a comprehensive U.S. policy on the survival of the Assyrians and other indigenous minorities in Iraq. This can only be achieved by establishing a safe haven in the plains of Syria. 4. We are here to employ the United States to take a leadership role to end this silent genocide that threatens the long-term stability of Iraq and the Middle East. As concerned Americans, we ask the American public to support and provide assistance to the indigenous Assyrian Christians population of Iraq by contacting your congressional delegation to exert pressure on the Iraqi federal government and the KRG to act immediately in support of the above demands. Without aggressive American intervention, awareness and implementation to stop this genocide, the Christian community is on the verge of overt genocide or exodus on a scale unknown in modern times. Potentially 1.2 million refugees in a span of a decade. Once gone from Iraq, they will never be able to return. The fabric, culture, and politics of Iraq and the Middle East will be forever transformed. We ask our President Barack Obama and those leaders with the power to stop this genocide. Do you have anything to say about this? Does your silence equal acceptance? We want to know what is the value of these helpless, voiceless human beings dying on a daily basis. Let me remind you what Edmund Burke once said. All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. We want to know, when will you act? What must happen? Isn't the raping of our women, the decapitation of our children, and the slaughtering of our elderly enough? Act now, Barack, or go down in history as a world leader who allowed it to happen. The world leaders must realize that the cradle of civilization is being destroyed. The root of Christianity is being eradicated. and the fabric of humanity is shredded to pieces. Will anyone act? Does anyone care? Does justice still exist? Haven't we suffered enough? What must we do for you to listen? We are suffering. We are losing ourselves. We are dying. Give us our safe haven. Give us our home.
I'd like to invite Pune to come up here. Pune is joining us, as I mentioned earlier.
Introduce?
Can you introduce?
As I mentioned earlier, SWANA LA was present. Pune is the spokesperson for SWANA LA, and she has prepared some words. As you can see, she's here in support and solidarity of the Assyrian Christians. We're also known as Syriac and Chaldean, but we're all the same people, we're all one. She's here in support of us. Her and her groups are here, so she will be presenting us with a couple of words.
Thank you all. My name is Pune Behin, and I am an Iranian, and I stand here in solidarity with the Assyrian community. So our group is called SWANA LA, which stands for Southwest Asian and North African Los Angeles. We're a group of progressive people of SWANA background here in Los Angeles who stand for justice and human rights. So today we wanted to stand in solidarity with the Iraqi and Syrian Christian communities and demand the immediate cessation of their ethno-religious cleansing currently being undertaken by ISIS, also known as the Islamic State. In addition, we're also in solidarity with any other peoples currently being persecuted by ISIS. The Assyrian, Chaldean, Syriac communities have experienced a history of genocide and violence in the past few decades, and they have the right to live without fear and without persecution. Woo! These communities also have the right to freedom and self-determination. Yeah!
Hello everybody, my name is Zina. I'm an Iraqi Muslim Shia American, and I stand in solidarity with the Assyrian Chaldean communities that are currently being persecuted. I want to read something that I wrote because I feel very emotionally attached to this issue because of my descent. So here it goes. We know all too well that Iraq has not been and is still not immune to the powers that be. As an Iraqi, the inability to visit the homeland due to war, sanctions, and occupation, and hearing about these atrocities from the diaspora render the feelings of hopelessness, despair, and anger. The current persecution and attempted genocide of Assyrians, Chaldeans, Iraqis, and Syrian Christians and Shias is unacceptable and should be actively stopped by our communities and non-military international support. We must recognize and understand that what is currently happening in Iraq is a byproduct of decades of colonialism and imperialism. In order to liberate ourselves and our communities, combating these and any other ideology that threatens our freedom to live safely and peacefully is how we can attain liberation. Accepting each other's differences as Iraqis and SWANA peoples as a whole and living in coexistence as we have in the past is possible. We need to use our feelings of hopelessness, despair, and anger and turn them into ambition, resistance, and passion, with still a little bit of anger, because that's, what drives us. All we need is to look back at our histories, our stories, to learn from our ancestors. Iraq's 1920 revolutionaries emphasized anti-sectarianism, seeing in a British policy a divide and conquer strategy that sought to set Iraq's ethnic and confessional groups against each other. We must learn from this, brothers and sisters. As the July 1958 revolution chant goes, achieving unity will allow us to rid ourselves of imperialism. As Swana peoples, we must believe that we can reach justice. We can defeat entities that try to keep us down and tear us apart. We must believe in this. Otherwise, we are here for absolutely nothing.
Yes, yes, yes,
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Give him a hand. Okay, at this point, I'd like to invite Ms. Rachel Yusefian.
Rachel. Rachel, the president.
Rachel is the president of the Assyrian American Association of San Jose. She was in town. She's also been one of the activists working for demand for action, as you guys can see on your shirts. So she's prepared a couple of words for us as well.
Thank you very much, Rama. Yes, I'm president of Assyrian American Association of San Jose and Bay Area. Assyrians also in San Francisco, they gathered thousands of people, and in fact, we also have a lot of support from other communities. This is what we demand for. This is great today to see people from Muslim communities standing here in defense and support of their Christian brothers and sisters. We have been neighbors for years. For years we lived together, sharing the same history, but we have our own identity. We are sons and daughters of that great Assyrian Empire. Peacefully, the sons and daughters who came from that land between the two rivers, who was the cradle of civilization. Cradle of civilization. The civilization is in danger now. We demand actions from the world. Today, demands for action is in 48 different cities in 15 different countries. This movement started by our great youth. These are the future of this generation. Our Assyrian youth are the ones that bring the savior to the Assyrian nation. We as organizations must all stand behind these youth and support them. Assyrian American Association of San Jose, Assyrian American Associations of Southern California, Assyrian American National Federation, we all stand behind the youth because the youth today made this great movement in the entire world, and we will not stop. We will demand for our rights. Father George stated all the historical facts greatly, so I will not repeat on those, but I'm facing to all the American media. If you are making any recording, if you're taking any YouTube's videos from this speech, publicize them as much as you can in their face. Where is CBS? Where is NBC? Shame on you if you are not covering it! These are human of flesh and blood! These are human of flesh and blood! Being killed! Being kidnapped! Our Assyrian women and kids have been kidnapped and
Destabilizing Arab countries is necessary to keep the peace in Middle East. We want you to take action. We want you to stop being silent.
Terrorism.
Stop the terrorism. Stop the ISIS now.
Stop supporting terrorists.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Thank you for that passionate plea to our At this point, I'd like to invite Mr. Ray Verna. He helped us in getting everything organized in Orange County. He'll be joining us right now to give us a speech.
Thank you, Rama. You know, when I was asked to speak, I didn't know if I should put something together or just say it from the heart. And today, I have made a decision to say and speak from the heart. I, as a Iraqi-born Assyrian, I was born in Baghdad. I am an Assyrian American now, a citizen of this United States, and have every right to speak and be the voice for those people that are in the Middle East that are suffering. I belong to the Assyrian Church of the East, and I noticed our Father, Reverend Asha Ashur Al-Khoury, is also present with us. And we share, every one of us share one goal, and one goal only, and that is to be the voice of the people that do not have a voice, that are back in the Middle East and Iraq and Syria, that are suffering some consequences that we have never seen in our lifetime. My parents used to tell me stories when I was a young kid. My dad, God rest his soul, used to tell me stories of our ancestors and the Assyrian genocide and the Christian genocides, the Armenians, and every minority out there that was in the Middle East. He used to tell me what suffering we suffered as people. How many bishops and archbishops and leaders, church leaders and political leaders we lost for our name, for what we represent, which is Christianity. And today, it is so unfortunate that I am here standing alive. Thank God for me being alive. But it's unfortunate to see this with my own eyes today. Yet we see silence from our leader, Mr. President Obama. It is your responsibility. You are the leader of a country that is the leader of the world. Yet you stand in silence and have no action. We are not here expecting any words. We don't want to hear the nice words. We want action. We want justice. We want it now. We deserve it. Imagine this. You're sitting at home in Iraq having dinner, having lunch with your family. And all of a sudden you hear 3 booms on the door. Boom! 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 You open the door and what is it? It's the devil, ISIS, standing right in front of you. Yes! Giving you 3 ultimatums. You convert to Islam. You pay a hefty tax. Or you die. And yet, Obama and the UN is standing there in silence, watching this happen. Shame on you! Shame on you! We are seeing the rape of our women, our Christian women. They don't deserve this. The kids, we've seen kids being beheaded, not just males, 2- 3-year-old kids. The 22-year-old female, I'm speaking for their family, that was dragged out of her home, killed in front of her family, and was told not to go near this woman. If you do, your whole family dies. What happens the day after? Dogs were eating from her. These are animals that we're dealing with. They are not human. These are animals. These are actually animals have some more respect than these people. This is a shame that the UN and Mr. President Obama is in silence.
Shame on you, Obama!
And all I am here today is to be the voice of the people that are in Iraq. It's not about me. It's not just about Assyrians. It's about Christians. It's about humanity. And we demand action today, and we demand it now. Thank you.
As some of you know, my name is Ilrama Betkoya. I am the spokesperson for the youth group that planned this event today. We are Demand for Action. Today, August 2nd, we made history. Hundreds of thousands of Assyrians across North America, Europe, Middle East, and Australia have held rallies today. We all demanded the same thing. Everyone demanded action, and we will not stop until we have achieved safe haven for our people. I am an Assyrian. We are also known as Chaldean in Syria, the people of the land between two rivers. We are the cradle of civilization and the root of Christianity worldwide. I am from Ninru Plains. Although I wasn't born there, it belongs to me and I to it. Every single one of the Ninevites are my brothers and sisters. So are the prosecuted Assyrians in Syria. We are one. I will never stop demanding protection for them. We demand a permanent solution in Iraq, and we demand a permanent solution in Syria. Iraq and Syria is currently being pillaged of its indigenous people, the Assyrians, at the hand of Islamic State terrorists, a group even too radical for Al-Qaeda. The Assyrian Christians have dealt with massacres, genocides, and a systematic ethno-religious cleansing for centuries. And enough is enough. The city of Mosul has been overtaken by terrorists who, in the name of Islam, are massacring people. Yet, as we witnessed earlier today from our two wonderful speakers, that is not Islam. For too long, the Assyrians have been second-class citizens in their own rightful land. For too long, we have suffered in our homeland. We can no longer sit idly waiting while the world powers turn a blind eye. Our girls are kidnapped and raped. Our boys are beheaded and crucified in front of ISIS cameras. We are begging you to protect us. We are asking you to stop us from being refugees scattered across the globe. We are not asking for any special rights or privileges. We are demanding our basic human rights. The right to freely speak our language. The right to freely practice our faith. The right to freely honor our customs and cultures. We are the Assyrians. We are not dead. We are still here, and we will not keep silent any longer. President Obama, on September 26, 2008, when you were a junior senator from Illinois, you asked Secretary Rice to, and I quote, provide responses to the following questions. What progress has been made over the last year in reducing the severe violations faced by these communities of religious freedom and other human rights? 2. What specific steps has the State Department taken to urge the Iraqi government to provide protection to Iraq's Christian and other non-Muslim religious minorities? Has the Iraqi government been responsive to requests for such protection? What is the U.S. government's assessment of Iraqi government efforts to protect religious minority communities? 3. What progress has the U.S. made over the last year in helping secure asylum for these Iraqis who have a well-founded fear of prosecution? I don't like that one. 4. What steps is the U.S. taking to ensure that Iraq's Christian and other non-Muslim religious minorities are properly represented in Iraq's governmental institutions? So I would like to ask you this, Mr. Obama. Can you provide those same answers to the questions you asked Secretary Rice? I would like you to tell the world why you have remained silent on issues that were so pressing nearly 6 years ago. Mr. President, the United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, called the barbaric treatment of the Assyrians in Iraq and Syria a crime against humanity. Why are you sitting idly by while my brothers and sisters are being raped and murdered? Mr. President, you recently said, and I quote, "We also remember that religious liberty is not just an American right, It is a universal human right to be protected here at home and across the globe. This freedom is an essential part of human dignity, and without it, our world cannot know lasting peace. Therefore, Mr. President, we ask, no, we demand action. We demand a safe haven under international protection in Ningbo Plain, the ancient home of the Assyrians. President Obama, President Putin, Chancellor Merkel, leaders of France, China, and UK, we are begging you to step in and save our people from extinction. Before I end my speech, I would like you to know that on behalf of the Demand for Action Committee, we will never stop informing you of the murders of each and every Assyrian. We will not stop contacting you until a permanent solution is reached. Mr. Ban Ki-moon, General Secretary of the United Nations, do not let Ningbo Plains become your Rwanda. As Honorable William Wilberforce once said, having heard all this, you may choose to look the other way, but you can never say again that you did not know. Ningbo Plains is ours. Dashta Ningbo Dianila. Dashta Ningbo Didanyo. Kaya Atur, Long Legacia. And now I would like to ask all of our priests, Father Alfari, Father George, Abuna, all of you, please come to the front of the stage. We would like you all to lead us in a prayer.
لا خمارة خل مودينا لا عيشهم شيخا شرخينا جرتم نخمانة بارد وتبارو قد نوشتا قطعو خمصالوية مريا شم مطلقالان لا خمارة خل مودينا لا عيشهم شيخا شرخينا جرتم نخمانة بارد وتبارو قد نوشتا
الله لا كل رحمة من حطو يد قوري ليك كلي وعبار من أنبح نونو
بس قالوا خلا يريدون بجمعياته شو بطبخ اليوم تساعد اطوراي صاد 5 واد خلاص قديشه يجي عمره صاد شوف اللي يشتغلوا اطوراي بجمايخ خالد سهده هديه من قند ازيتون اختي بالطبخ خيرته بجمعيتها وطلب الخاكس هالي وتصاين صعد خبسر قدمته بالون ريليس تودخ خالد سهده وبرمن اللي القهوة تاخذ لخة